Okay, I just read the book of Esther. It's good. I listened to it audio, English English Standard Version. It's 9 chapters, 10 chapters, and my takeaway is prayer and fasting really work. And I just saw a sermon by Steve Verdict, The Reverse, and so the main thrust of the book is Esther was a young, beautiful woman that became queen. And the way I understand it is she took direction from her uncle. And then when she got into the palace, she took direction from the royals and learned the royal way to dress. She didn't go nuts with the jewelry and the makeup and the hair and the clothes and see how many, bracelets she could fit on her arm. She was tasteful because she wanted to please the king. She had her eye on the prize, not on the materials, I guess. So that's one character standard. That's one takeaway. Another one is where it talks about in chapter 9, verse 25. When it came before the king, he gave orders in writing that his Haman was the guy that wanted all the Jews killed because he got so pissed that Mordecai, Esther's uncle, wouldn't bow down to the king. But he actually saved the king's life. Jews just don't bow down to humans. Even though we honor people, and I've heard from Anna Roundtree's books that we do bow to each other in heaven, they don't do that on earth in the Old Testament. But Haman was pissed. He hated Mordecai because he just wasn't, he was like, every man's a grasshopper. I don't care. Every man's a bug or an insect. Some of us are glorious butterflies. Some of us are glorious grasshoppers. Great. You can jump up 7 times higher than normal. You're still a grasshopper, okay, to Mordecai. And so he gave orders in writing that his evil plan that he had devised against the Jews should return on his own head, and that he and his son should be hanged on the gallows. So now there's a holiday every year from Esther's book, by the way, called Purim. I love that word, Purim. And it comes from the word pure, P-U-R, which comes from the word lots, casting lots. So, I forget how you call it, two themes here. One, Esther is able to take direction and actually give direction at the end to her uncle. And her uncle was humble enough to receive direction from her. So there was a give and a take. Her uncle raised her like his own daughter. And then when she became queen, she's like, all right, let's just not eat or drink anything for 3 days. I don't know what kind of magic that does. I just know I hear God really, really well. And it gets my attention, okay? And it gets God's attention. Like, dang, they're thirsty. And they're doing that for me because they love me and they want to hear me that bad. I want to talk to them. So I don't think it's a magic trick. I don't think you can go without food and water and God's just going to zap your problems away. But, in this case, it did. So try it. If you have an unsurmountable problem or you just have an agitating issue or a health issue, try it. See what happens. My dad always taught me it doesn't twist God's arm. It just heightens our ability to hear God. So two themes here. Esther is teachable and she wants to please the king. She's not in the palace to just grab all the gold and put it on her arm and just take from the king. She actually wants to please the king. And I think a lot of the women there were so starstruck, we can get like that. Um, I think she had a good head on her shoulders. I think God was with her and he had put it in her heart to be a leader and say, this is bigger than you, kiddo. You're here to save your people. And I think she had that since she was a little girl. And I think she knew that. It's like, if you please the king, you're going to have all the bracelets you want. So don't worry about bracelets. That's how I've heard the sermon before. That's how I read into it. And then with the Purim, with Haman, is when you fast and pray and you trust God, let God fight your battles for you. If you have an irritating problem or you don't have breakthrough and you want breakthrough and you're like, God, dang it, I know you're good. I know you can heal me. I challenged him after listening to Bride say, be honest with God. I'm like, what's up, healer? What's up with my numb feet, Jesus? You're the healer. I was mad. I talked to him like that. And he's like, remember when I told you this and this and this? I'm like, yeah. He said, you haven't done it, huh? I said, no. He said, okay, that's how you're going to get healed. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Lord. So we can be honest with Jesus. If you're mad about something, tell him, hey, where's the breakthrough, Mr. Breakthrough? If you're the one that breaks us out of our prison cells and takes, I'm like Joseph, I can't deliver myself out of Las Vegas. Where is it? Where is the door? I'm worshiping. I just worshiped right here on the strip in front of Venetian today. As loud as I could. I'm worshiping. Trust me, I am doing my part. So, that's another video for another day. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share. I underlined a lot here. You can see I'm an active listener. I'm an active reader. It's fun. You're allowed to write in your Bible. You're not going to get hit by a lightning bolt. Look. I write notes. I like to write down certain words. We are family. You got this. You got that. This is all just today. I said, Lord, give me a hunger for your word. He sent me to Esther. Esther is like a soap opera. Sometimes he just wants to push the reset button and just say, just go on a new journey with me. Just put away all your old ways of thinking about my word and just have fun with it. If you're an audio learner like me, you can listen to, if you have an NIV or you have a mirror or you have a Message Bible. I love the Message Bible. You can actually go on YouTube and put Book of Psalms Message Bible and then listen to it while you're looking at it. That helps me so much. So the two takeaways are Esther risked her life. She didn't seem to have a lot of confidence that, the king would be cool with her entering the presence. And she's like, hey man, if I perish, I perish. But I like what Mordecai said. If you don't do it, someone else is going to be raised up beside you, And sometimes we're not always God's first choice. Reinhard Bonnke is a phenomenal evangelist in Africa, and the Lord said, you were my third choice. The other two guys said no. So, there's a lot of good movies out, but can you imagine Marilyn Monroe playing the main role in Breakfast at Tiffany's? Marilyn said no to that role. Thank God, because Audrey is the elegant, model, walking model, acting model. So, it's a good book. It talks about Esther's courage, really, and not being materialistic, not being starstruck, but also being humble, and being respectful of the king. That's why she got it, because she's like, he's not going to be real crazy about me going in there and doing that. Just because I'm good looking doesn't mean I get to do whatever I want either. Just because he chose me to be the queen, she was still humble. I wonder if his first wife would have had that attitude, because she didn't want to show up. She didn't want to listen to the king. So not only was Queen Esther beautiful and caring, but she was humble. So she didn't assume that her new husband, and he hadn't called her for 30 days, you know. So I guess he needed space. Maybe he was an introvert. I heard that Nikki Sixx's wife says they keep it spicy because they only see each other, every couple weeks, but they don't go longer than 2 weeks. That would keep a marriage pretty spicy if you don't see each other very often. Yeah. So yeah, that's part of the rock and roll life, baby. Traveling and not always being together. That's a good rule of thumb. Have a boundary. Like what's your rhythm? If you got two people that are both introverts that are used to being alone a lot, maybe it's longer. Maybe it's 2 months. I don't know. But that was their agreement. So yeah, Mordecai was a very good man, and he was very wise. This is a lot about wisdom, and just being patient. You know how long they had to wait to get. Mordecai did nice things for the king, and he didn't get acknowledged for it, and he didn't get pissed off and walk away. You know what I mean? So there's a lot in there, and I would highly recommend reading it. It's a royal culture. It was an authoritarian culture, which is odd for us in a diplomacy, in a democracy, I guess. Democracy, but yeah, it has a lot of good takeaways. So I like it. I like Esther. I think she's a cool chick. Okay, have a blessed day.